Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Monday, October 17th, and we are here trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. How do we do that? We do that by actually asking you to do a little work. If you wouldn't mind, you go to our website, jillonmoney.com, you click on the Contact Us button, and you write down what your question is. And it can be anything. It can be a big overarching question. It might be a specific question. Oh, Mark, I have a question for you. Someone asked me a question that I didn't know about, which is, what is the difference between a brokered CD and a non-brokered CD? And I imagine that a brokered CD just has a higher interest rate, but also a higher fee. Is that right?
Basically, but you're right. We've been getting a lot of those emails as well. People are seeing that the CDs found that brokerage houses are offering pretty good rates right now. But people are skeptical because they're not very familiar with them. So we've gotten a lot of emails like, is this legit? Is it safe?
So it is legit. It's just that what you should find out is what is the fee to purchase that CD versus just buying a non-brokered CD, right?
Correct. That's the biggest difference.
Okay, so safe to use, but understand what the fee is and compare it with what your alternative is. It's sort of like saying, when you have a mortgage, sometimes they'll be like, oh, do you want points or no points? Just make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So whatever you get at the end of the day from even a brokered or a non-brokered, after you've net out the fees, what are you earning in interest? That's how you make the comparison. But yeah, they're safe. Okay. Now, next, let us get on to our listener. It's Brian, who's on the line from Tucson. Hello, Brian. How can we help you out today?
Hi, Joe. Hi, Mark. It's great talking with you guys. I have a question regarding basically some retirement calculators I've been looking at.
Okay.
I'm in my early 50s, and I'm thinking about not necessarily retiring, but I'm thinking about changing careers and working less, and basically going on to maybe like my next endeavor. So I've been running, the numbers through various financial calculators, and they all are basically telling me that I could retire right now if I wanted to.
Okay.
And with the money I've saved up in retirement accounts and outside of retirement accounts, with how much I need to spend, at least as of today, on an annual basis, I would still end up with quite a bit of money left over come age 95. And it just seems a little too good to be true.
Okay, so let's think about this. Let's run the numbers with you very quickly without going into deep dive detail. I know that you don't want to have to give us every single thing, but why don't you give us right now, first of all, what do you need to spend on a monthly basis?
So right now I spend between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. And I track that, and that's a pretty, accurate number.
So let's just say 4, just so we have like the bigger number, right? Are you married, partnered, single?
I am single, no kids.
Oh, this is already becoming an easy scenario to figure out how you're going to do. How much do you earn right now, Brian?
I earned around $140,000 a year.
Tell us about the savings that you have accumulated. So let's see what the calculators are crunching for you.
So I have a traditional 401k with around $705,000 in it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Roth 401k with around $31,000, and then I also have a rollover IRA with 110, and a Roth IRA with 500.
Wait, 500 grand, right?
500,000,
Okay.
yes.
What about non-retirement accounts?
I also have a brokerage account with some ETFs that are worth around 130,000.
Great.
I have an HSA with around 23,000 in it. I have I-bonds that I just bought this year, so I only have around 10,000 plus a little bit of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have around 210,000 in just cash, not including my emergency fund, for which I have around $70,000 in that, which is for emergencies and some upcoming expenses.
Okay, so you're saying you've got 210 in cash plus 70, so 280 in cash right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. House, do you own a home?
I do own a home. It's worth around, 500,000. There's no mortgage on it. There's no debt at all.
Wait, let me just do my quick calculations right now because already I'm like, okay, are you laughing, Mark, in your background? Is that what I hear you laughing? You're giggling, aren't you? I don't have to run a calculation, Brian. You're so fine. Why? What's wrong with you? Why are you making yourself crazy? You only spend $4,000 a month.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of like the saving grace when I look at the numbers, because I do, the calculators do include Social Security.
And Social Security, let's say you draw it at what's your full retirement age? 67?
My full retirement age would be 67. Yes.
Okay. What's the amount at 67?
At 67, it's like 3350.
3350. You would have no pension, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you're saying next endeavor. So are you going to go from 140 to zero or 140 to something else?
I don't want to stop working because I think I
Mhm.
get bored after probably a month.
Right.
But I don't want to. I don't want to work full time, and I don't want to. I work in IT
Mhm.
for a large corporation, and I like to do something outside of corporate America. You mentioned in one of your calls recently to some guy about doing a fun job, and I
Yeah.
kind of like to do something fun, something that just keeps me busy, and maybe brings in nowhere near what I'm making now.
Oh,
Maybe even close to a quarter what I'm making now
okay.
is what I'm
But
looking at.
how about this? What if I said to you, all you need to do is get a job that either can cover the cost of your health insurance or have health insurance offered to you? Let's say you were like, you know what, I really, what I love is I'm going to make something up here. Like, I work for Big Brothers of America, and I'm going to do IT projects for like nonprofits, and that'll be 30 or 40 grand a year. Okay, that would like cover your health insurance, really. But that's really the only big expense you're going to have. Because even at
Yes.
4 grand a month, even if I put an extra 1,000 and made it 5,000 a month, because you'll need that for, I don't know, 12 or 13 years till you have Medicare, right? So even if we made it $5,000 a month, I think that everything is fine because all you really need to do is bring in enough money until you start claiming Social Security to pay for your health insurance. And everything else should be okay.
I'm curious for all the listeners out there. I mean, you make a good salary. You're not making a ton of money. At some point, were you making a lot more money? Like, how did you save all this money?
Well, I've worked for the same company, for 30 years, and I've had a decent, match my 401k, and I've started my 401k from the very beginning. When I first started work 30 years ago. So I've been saving money all along, but I definitely, haven't been making, this much for my whole career. But it's been at least a good last, maybe 10 years or so where I'm making, over 100,000 a year.
But do you feel like there's any way to stay with this company and work less? Or is it like you're done? Are you fried?
I'm pretty fried. It's a fairly stressful job. I do a lot of project management work,
Mm,
and there's a lot of reorganizations that we've been going through. And just after 30 years, I'm just kind of exhausted and
okay.
feel like I need to, do something else. And I'm not necessarily, wanting to. There's a little bit of benefit for staying until I'm 55, which is like in another year and a half. But
Mhm.
definitely by then, if not before, I really do want to move on to something else, and just because it's been such a long period of time within this career.
Well, what is it that you don't believe about the calculators? That's my other question I
It,
have.
it just seems too good to be true, and I have used multiple calculators. I'm not just relying solely on one, but knowing that I need to have enough money if I retire at 55 to last me until I'm at least 95. The one that I mostly use, it actually tells me that I'll have more money at 95
Right, you gotta spend
than
more
I'll
because
start.
otherwise, right? Exactly. You're because
Yeah.
you're a net saver essentially because you have you all right. So let's just like big picture math. You've got $1.7 million that's accumulated approximately. 1.7, a 3% withdrawal rate, jams out 50 grand a year, which you don't need all of that. I'm just saying that like depending on what you need, you'll need something like 20 or 30 grand a year, which, to supplement whatever you're earning for the next some years. Then you claim Social Security. So you have 12 years where you're going to pull some money out of the portfolio. And then you're going to claim Social Security, which is really and you'll have Medicare. And so your expenses actually could drop a little bit and you're fine. I mean, you are absolutely fine. So the big question is really like, what do you want to do, and how do you? And I get it. If you want it, like certainly for 18 months to get a big bump is a nice thing, or to get some extra money. But after that, I would spend the next 18 months figuring out what you really want to do next. You are essentially the person who I wrote my book for. I'm not even kidding, because to me, you've done such an amazing job of saving, of living within your means, and now you are actually undergoing or you're contemplating a great money reset. The subtitle of the book is Change Your Work, which you're about to do. You're going to change your wealth, mostly because what you're going to do is you're going to access your wealth. And you're going to change your life. And you're going to be a happier human being. And this is your payoff, man. So take advantage of it. It's so great. It really is. I mean, I was just having this conversation with a very good friend of mine last night. And we were talking about how it's hard to transition from a career, a life where work is so dominant, right? And so this is a friend of mine whose spouse is a criminal defense attorney. So it's not like you can do that part-time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you're the same way. It's like you're all in, you're all out. So then what we need to be thinking about is, how do you transition to something for the next 10, 12 years or 5 years or however long you want to do it? Feel like you are engaged and not feel like you're so stressed out. It's just, and it's very difficult. I know that. It's just, I think that sometimes we have a tough time finding that happy medium. And I think that what we should really be considering is for you to take the time before you turn 55 to really be thinking about this. What is it that I like to do? What are some jobs out there? And I know the world could change in 18 months. There may not be a job. But by the way, if you don't ever get a job, even if you just worked part-time in, the hardware store that you live near, if that's something that's fun to you, that's fine. That's fine. Just so that you're not bored.
That's my main goal. I want to do something that, isn't really taxing on my mind. And to be honest, just something fun that, I would enjoy going out and doing, part-time or seasonally, because I don't want to work full-time again. I'm, after 30 some years, I'm kind of done with that.
I think you've earned the right to be done with it. Okay. Now you are a single dude, but do you have some estate documents? Where's all of this money go?
So I do have the estate documents. They're pretty old, but they really won't change any. So I have my will, my power of attorney, my living will, and I have all those three main documents that you mentioned.
Great. Okay. Very good. That's excellent. Anything else that we can help you out with?
One other quick question. So based on the numbers that I presented and what I see in these retirement calculators, since I'm single, I've looked at and thought about long-term care insurance.
Why?
Well, just because people say that in your 50s you start considering it.
Hold on. Let me just stop you for one moment. Do you have a sibling or a relative or a friend who really needs to? Do you want to preserve your wealth for somebody else? That's number one question.
No, I do have siblings, but if there's money left over, it goes to them. If there's no money left over,
fine. Then that's the
yeah.
answer. The answer is you don't need it. Because what happens is, let's just pretend if, 10 years from now you had some sort of long-term illness, you would just spend your money down. That's it. You'd use your money to pay for care. Unless, one caveat to that, if your current employer has the ability for you to purchase long-term care insurance at a group rate, and that policy is portable, meaning you could take it with you after you leave, that would be the only reason to get it. And literally you would be paying money to preserve the portfolio for your heirs, whoever, your siblings or nieces and nephews.
With open enrollment coming up, I'll look to see if that's something. I don't think that's something you've offered in the past, but I'll definitely look to see if that's something that's part of the available offerings that they have this year.
Then Brian, go off, spend your money, contemplate life, and enjoy it, because you have earned it, okay? Great job. Amazing job. So if you, like Brian, don't believe the numbers, and there's a lot of us who don't. I happen to be partnered with one of those kinds of people who doesn't believe the numbers. Anyway, if you don't believe the numbers and we can try to help you understand what those numbers mean or give you some context, give us a holler. Just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. And when you're on that website, all you need to do is click the button that says Contact Us. Right next to that button is another button which says Take Our Poll. And we're still getting poll responses. It takes 10 seconds. Please respond. And of course, other things on our website. You can sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every single Friday. Mark does an amazing job with that. We've got all sorts of content. Everything is there. So please do check it out. Try to lift someone up today. Grit, growth, grace. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.